everyone, and welcome to Techie Tuesday with Kodak Alaris in Northamber. As Martin just mentioned, today's session will be undertaken by myself, Mandeep, and Robbie. So just a quick overview before we get started. Just like to run over the partner portal, Kodak Alaris, the portfolio, distributed capture and InfoInput, which is why we're all here. And at the end will be a Q&A session. But if there is anything pressing and you do feel it needs answering during the presentation, do feel free just to raise your hand using the icons at the bottom of the screen, and that'll be fine. So what is the Kodak Alaris Partner Portal, and why should you use it, and how can it benefit you and your business? Well, the portal itself was launched at the end of 2019, but it was a soft launch, and it was implemented to replace a previous version of the portal. So if any of you guys have previously used the portal, you'll have some knowledge of it and some expectations of what it can do. So the idea of regeneration and re-implementing this new portal was we just wanted to give you guys a little bit more, make our partnerships and working together easier. And the portal was designed around that and with today's business environment in mind. We're just going to focus on key elements within the portal, which we'll look to go on to deliver. We've developed the portal which automates sales cycles, activities to save time and streamline processes, sales enablement tools, training and certifications in a single one-click sign-in access application. There'll be assets and support for marketing activities. It's fairly easy to navigate. As you can see from the screen, there's a bar along the top which has dealer reg, sales, business planning, and it's just a drop-down menu. So it's all fairly self-explanatory once you're in there. So we invested the portal that we can hope can be utilised by all easily and effectively. We realise your time's sort of precious, so we're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone. It's also an opportunity to work and build on projects together. For us to maximise opportunities that we find in the marketplace, because we sort of understand that 90% of our business is indirect through partners. So working collaboratively and together and really exploring opportunities that are in the marketplace is really important for us and for yourselves. And the portal also gives you some control, whether this is thinking of incentives that you think will really drive your business. Believing in the benefits your customer engaging with us for assistance in putting together projects. So the benefit of the portal, demand gen and leads, both manage leads and those who may distribute to others. Access comprehensive training to build your sales and technical knowledge of our portfolio. So that will also include any new products and new services that come out. Dealer reg. To work with a Kodak Alaris specialist, so if an opportunity arises, we can maximise it. You can deal with Robbie or a different account manager you've been dealing with. There's also the possibility for special pricing just to get deals over the line, maximise revenue, and also keep those margins nice and high. The key 5 elements within the portal would be the business planning, training, marketing support, demand gen, and dealer reg. So just looking at each one in a little bit more detail. So business planning will just help track your sales activities. Kodak Alaris sales rep will work with you and create joint business account plans for the year and just track progress towards goals. Business planning, again, it can outline any projects, tasks. Sales enablement, access our extensive research, combative information, and why to buy tools. So these have already been put together, and it's just an area which is all in one place. It's easy to access. Once you click through, there's a nice easy search function that you can just find on different projects and different solutions. And again, there's a training portal which does come with certification and technical training courses. So in the instance where if you want to brush up on your skills, if you've undertaken some HR and you've onboarded some new staff members, it's a great opportunity just to incorporate them and to teach them about Kodak Alaris without it taking too much of your own time. And we understand that as we innovate and move on with technology and as it develops, new skills and knowledges will be needed in the marketplace. And this is an area we look to increase. We can add training so we can make it more of a continuous process. Undertaking this training will also hopefully allow you to work on potential projects and new products as they come to the marketplace. And it gives you a better understanding of the solutions that are out. It's also an opportunity to learn about the Kodak Alaris solution, our benefits, USPs, to help you and customers. Being able to tell your customers about products and solutions from Kodak Alaris with confidence. Being able to sell your customer a superior product with confidence and obtain a larger share of the profit and the margins for you. Another key element we're going to discuss is just the marketing funds for joint activity. So this is an area where requests for Kodak Alaris funding for any lead generation marketing activities you've got in mind. This can be raised here and discussed with myself and your account manager. It's an opportunity for us to share the investment and the return, grow together on projects with financial support from Kodak Alaris. In terms of leads, it's an area where we can just qualify leads. It goes into the database and it can just be tracked, and the sales and support that we offer. It's an area that can be used for including access to images, sales documents, a picture park website, which allows you to gain assets, marketing assets from Kodak Alaris. If there's a project where you feel we can do a bit of co-branding, that's an area where, again, you can go in, request co-branded products, and we can roll that out to larger projects that you've got. Alaris One Click, again, as you can see from the screen, there's different areas. So we've got corporate presentations, we've got production capture resources, competitive crush resources, and it's an online portal which you can access to view these assets, such as brochures. There's videos there. If you're working on a project, again, it needs some assets for a presentation. It's an area where you can go in, search for it, find it, can make a presentation a little bit more professional, and it gives you a little bit more confidence and working with an end user on putting something together. There's plenty there, and the sales enablement, again, there's extensive tools here just for information and basically anything Kodak Alaris. And finally, what does this mean for you? Well, it's a solution that's all under one roof. It gives you key info about products and solutions to help with sales and providing your customers with the best solution for their business. It opens resources for you to work on with more sales opportunities and hopefully providing a greater generation of revenue. And if you'd like to know any more about the portal, please feel free to reach out to myself, Robbie, or Martin, and we'll be able to assist with that. But that was just a quick, brief overview. So I'd like to just thank you for your time for listening to that, and I'd like to just to hand over to Robbie.
Thank you very much, Mandeep. I will I'll share my screen as soon as yours is closed. Okay. So hopefully you can now see my first slide, Martin, Mandeep. If you just want to give me a heads up on that, if you're unmuted.
Yeah, we can see it. No problem. That's fine. Thanks, Robbie.
Thanks, Martin. Cheers. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name's Robbie. I'm one of the channel managers here at Kodak Alaris. It's great to be talking to you today on this Northamber Techie Tuesday. So I've got a mixture of people in the audience. So before we launch straight into the main subject of distributed capture and the InfoInput solution, I thought I'd give an overview of our portfolio in its entirety for people that maybe only have a small insight as to what we do as a company. So let's start off with that. So for a good 30 odd years now, we've been manufacturing and selling document scanners, and at the current time we have the broadest range of document scanners in the industry. from work group, departmental, low volume up to high volume production scanners, as you can see in front of us, going from 20 pages a minute all the way up to over 700, believe it or not, which is still a little bit crazy. Okay, now we have won various awards over the years for this hardware. This year, the BLI have awarded us Scanner Line of the Year for 2020, and that's an award that we've won for the 4th time out of the last 5 years, so we're doing okay on that front. But one of the key things about our hardware that we tend to talk a lot about as a differentiator against our competitors is our scanning hardware comes with our perfect page technology, which ensures really good image quality. Image quality is important for a couple of reasons. One, it really helps get better OCR results, OCR being the technology of extracting data from a scanned image and that data being used somewhere else. And predominantly that's why people are scanning documents in, is to get access to the content. So OCR is a very, very key part of scanning and capture nowadays. So the fact that we got awarded the best image quality and the best OCR results from the competitor, when compared to our competitors, that's pretty good. We got 11% better OCR results than our competitors. Another great advantage of good image quality is smaller file sizes. Smaller file sizes really does help when you're scanning in volumes of information, because you're talking about storage, long-term storage of these files. And then you consider things like backup and restore from backup and document portability and collaboration. Small file sizes just lends itself well to all of those things. It's a really important aspect of it. So that's one of the reasons why we've won so many awards over the years. But we're not just about the scanner hardware, which is why we're talking to you today. We also have a very strong software portfolio under our Kodak Alaris banner. There's a number of products in this portfolio, one of which is InfoInput, which we're going to focus on today. But when it comes to capture solutions, we can pick and choose from this portfolio. We might need one or a combination of 2 of these products to deliver that solution. Part of those solutions is the ability to use our scanners, third-party scanners, and other capture devices, such as smart devices, smartphones, tablets, etc., are being used so much nowadays in all sorts of business practices, but also in being able to capture information. So we made that an integral part of our capture software portfolio as well. Another really strong part of our business is service, and under this we've got a number of sort of subsections. We've got professional services, support, and actual service contracts on the hardware and the software that we sell. We actually do offer service contracts on mixed fleet of scanners, so we always offer a service contract on our devices. But if your customer's got a mixed fleet of devices, we can offer service on that as well, regardless of what they have. So all the contracts in one place, which is very handy, which is why a lot of people come to us for that. So in a nutshell, that's our portfolio. Very broad range of hardware, a very comprehensive range of capture software solutions, mobile capture, and services. So let's talk about the actual software in a little bit more detail. At a high level, this proposition is that we can input documents from a wide variety of sources, as you can see on the left, and bring a level of automation to some of the most common, highly repeated tasks within a document process that would exist within your customers. Deliver that information process to where the customer needs it to be, such as the things on the right-hand side, CRM system, an EPR system, ERP, document management system, cloud, whatever that might be. We're kind of that hub in the middle of ingesting information, classifying it, extracting, validating it, converting it, and then pushing that into the right destination based on rules that have been defined or whatever that may be. Okay, so I find that particular image is a really good sum up of what we do as an organization. Yes, scanning is in there, but there's a lot more to it than just scanning nowadays. Okay, so let's move on to the key subject of distributed capture. So We take an organization that has, say, a corporate office, a head office, and some of those organizations, and we see this a lot, we have done over the years, and I'm sure you've seen it too, where they might have one specific department that's responsible for digitizing their paperwork. Could be a mailroom, could be the records department, whatever it might be. It tends to be that you find with these sorts of organizations, they have a centralized, so not distributed, but a centralized sort of capture environment. But this can have its limitations and can have its issues. For example, what if this organization isn't just in one building? What if they have multiple sites, possibly remote sites? And what we tend to see is that with a centralized capture process, where you've got multiple sites like this, that documents are being shipped around. That might be through third-party couriers. It might be using their own facilities to move documents from various places to this centralized scanning environment. Now, this has its downsides, because obviously just by talking about shipping documents around, we can imagine what those costs might be. So whether you're outsourcing it or whether it's something you're paying for internally, there are costs associated with that shipping of documents. And of course, while you're having documents moved around physically, there is a delay in that process. Somebody says, can I have this document, please? And it's, oh, well, you can't because it's on the other site. Or you can't, it's in the van on the M42, then that could be a bit of a problem as well. So there can be delays in document retrieval and even potential risk of loss of documents through that. And of course, with these things, that's going to impact on the service levels that that organization can provide. But some companies are not just spread across multiple sites, they could be spread across multiple regions and possibly even multiple countries. We often hear in the news about organizations buying other companies, companies merging. So you end up with people all over the place as a result of that. And that's very commonplace nowadays. Organizations have got multiple sites, they're operating in different ways. And when, of course, an organization buys another one, you inherit all of their processes and all of their systems too. Where you've just acquired what their systems might be, their legacy capture systems. And the problem with legacy capture systems is that they tend to have a sort of a high-touch maintenance. What I mean by that is that high-touch maintenance is where an IT engineer would possibly need to do something at a particular site, possibly installing software and installing devices, drivers and things like that. And as a result of this, you might have multiple different systems across multiple different sites. And then, of course, different practices about using some places might use scanners, otherwise places might use MFPs, etc. There's going to be different processes to absorb. Bring into account things like remote working or even mobile workers, and you start to build up a quite expensive process of managing how you ingest information into the organization. You've got one process for people at head office, you've got another process for people at region A sites, you've got another process for somebody who's working from home, somebody who's a mobile worker that uses his smartphone, etc. All these different things can get complicated. Ends up with costly remote management, no central control of the system. Okay. Let's break that down a little bit further and look at what the issues are we've got with here. So there are some benefits to this. Everyone's got the ability to capture something with a device of some shape or form, and maybe post that in or put it on a van or whatever it might be. There's some basic document capture going on here, but there are issues with mailing and transport costs, remote management costs. None of this is really fully integrated. There's potential for the loss of documents, time delays, and the multi-channel aspect isn't fully supported. So bits of technology have been adopted, but it's not really fully integrated into one platform. And this is where we introduce InfoInput. So InfoInput is a scanner-independent web capture solution. So it's scanner-independent, so it doesn't really matter what they've already got at site A, B, and C. It's web capture, so it's easy to deploy. You just push it out there. There's no local installation to take place. It's centrally installed and centrally managed. So what does that give us? Okay. So by pushing out that ability to capture at the remote sites, we're going to remove some of those pain points and turn those into benefits. So we're cutting back on those mailing and transport costs. We've now got central management. We've got a full audit trail, and we're capturing straight into the business process from sites A, B, and C. Okay. Now, what if this organization has already invested in a core application that they, a line of business application that they run? This might be an ERP system, it might be a CRM system, might be a document management system, whatever that might be. They've invested in that significantly. So why not embed InfoInput into that application? If that's the core application that people are using, then why not embed InfoInput into that? So you're supporting their existing processes with that. And we're taking away any of those limitations we had with regards to integration and providing that embedded capture solution. But of course, we've still got a couple of other people out there that are using departmental MFPs or even mobile phones. So let's enable them as well by providing a process that will capture from all of those devices, whether it's a smartphone, an MFP, Kodak Alaris scanner, or even a third-party scanner. We're able to provide that one single platform for capturing documents, no matter where you are, who you are, what your job role is. And that is being centrally managed by the IT department. And finally, we've removed all the pain points and we've got all of the benefits. Now, before I move on to anything else, I'd like to talk about an existing customer here in the UK that has adopted this very successfully over the last few years. It is a healthcare organisation, and they also have invested heavily in an EPR system, electronic patient record system, as well as behind the scenes a full-on document management system. But like this diagram you can see in front of us, they do not operate in one single site. In one building, there might be various different departments, like A&E or pathology, whatever that might be. But they have some behind the scenes departments as well in different buildings, you know, like finance and admin and things like that, property management, all that good stuff. So they've got a number of departments in a number of different buildings, and the buildings are spread across a particular city. And they did have this problem that we were just talking about. So they have deployed an embedded InfoInput solution into their system. They have about 250 users across their organization, all with a Kodak Alaris scanner, successfully using this. They have one point of deploying the solution, which is centrally, gets deployed to 250 clients from a central point, nothing locally to install. So they're really reaping the benefits of having that centralized control scanning platform across 250 clients. Now, at some point during this presentation, some of you might be thinking, okay, how much does it cost, Robbie? What does this cost? So I just want to give you a bit of an idea, and Martin and I are going to be putting together some pricing for you probably by the middle of next week, so that you can get an indication of this. Now, this isn't pricing that's going to be fed out in the normal way that hardware is. This is a case of if you find an opportunity for a situation like this, we can put some indicative pricing together for you. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis, but just to give you an indication, there's a number of components to this bit of software. There's the core server component, and then you have sort of the clients, and there's a couple of other add-ons as well, which we won't go into too much detail now. But if we talk about the server component, the list price of the server component is £1,559, and that includes the first year of software assurance. Okay, so that's your server cost. And then you've got your concurrent batch clients. Now, if you've got, say, I don't know, 30 users of the system, we need to look at it and say, okay, how much scanning are they actually doing? How many times of the day are they dipping into the system? And how long are they into the system? So with 30 clients, you might only need 5 concurrent batch clients spread across those 30 people because the frequency of the usage is quite low. So that's something to bear in mind. But an individual batch client license, as I say, that can be shared amongst a number of people, that is 1,949 list, and that does include 1 year of software assurance, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about there. Generally speaking, as an entry-level point for the system, we typically start off with, a 5 concurrent type system, at which point we're looking at a list price of, just over £10,000. So a very good value entry point into the system. So this is what we call extend your capture. What do we mean by that? Well, as I've already said, InfoInput is centrally managed. It can be embedded into other applications, and it can capture from all sorts of channels within the organization, not just to our scanner. So why is this good for you? Why is this good for you already selling scanners or something that may accompany scanners? Well, you can create additional software revenue from talking to customers about this kind of solution. If you've already sold possibly our Capture Pro software, then this is the ability to maybe take that one step further and expand on that and upsell, cross-sell into InfoInput as a more advanced capture solution. You can create software bundles. You can offer advanced services, professional services, and you could even integrate this embedded into your own solution if you have one, or their solution if we're talking about your customers. So how do we spot an opportunity for InfoInput and distributed capture? Well, here's some key things to look out for. So questions to ask your customer. Do you send documents off to a central scanning location for processing? That central scanning location may be internal, it might be external, it might be third party. Do you have multiple locations with existing scanners and software that need to be managed on a per instance basis? Do you scan documents to yourself on an MFP and then manually upload them into the system? Do you have multiple capture software applications running on your scanners at various locations? Again, going back to that sort of mergers and acquisitions type scenario. And finally, do you have a click charge based software? I need to make sure you get it right the first time. So I'm asking that about click charge because a lot of the competitors, or one of the main competitors to InfoInput, or IIS as we call it, is that there is no click charge to InfoInput. It is not a volume-based license. You can scan as much through this as you wish, which is a good selling point against some of our competitors. So I want to talk about some of the key features of the system, some of the key functions. For those of us that are a little bit technical amongst the audience, I know some of you will appreciate these next couple of slides. So we are talking about a purely web-based scanning solution. It's purely web-based, so deploying it is not a case of installing things on PCs. Okay, so there's a centralized roaming license. This is the concurrent nature that I was talking about. It's all held centrally on the server. Okay, it can run on Windows and Linux as well. There's no click charges, which doesn't really matter to organizations where they have peaks and troughs. They might have a particular time of the year where their volumes shoot up, and that shouldn't impact on the cost of their solution. We've talked about scanning and capture predominantly, but this system can also handle any file at all, electronically delivered images, so existing PDFs, pretty much any file you like, spreadsheets, Word files, even videos, images from cameras, anything like that can be imported into the capture workflow. You can drag and drop these documents directly into the browser of InfoInput's user interface, emails, everything. It's very easy to set up and change jobs because it's a centralized control system where all those changes are deployed to the clients, and it can connect to a variety of different sort of downstream processes with some simple scripting. Getting a little bit more detailed on the sort of capture side, it can read barcodes, it can do zonal OCR, so it can do some extraction. Database lookups as well to validate that information that we've got, or to retrieve further information, document separation. From a user's perspective, you can drag and drop fields for OCR. You can do manual indexing or validation. And as I said, you can embed this into your existing applications as well. So automating many indexing tasks very, very easily to make that workflow slick. And one of the key points about this, and why it's really good that we offer this at Kodak Alaris, is that this can offer driverless scanning. So I keep talking about not deploying anything to the local PC, the local client. But some of you might be thinking, oh, what about the Twain driver? Don't you have to install the Twain driver for the Kodak Alaris scanner or third-party scanner onto that PC? Well, the third-party scanners, yes. But we have a couple of devices in our range, and at the moment it's a couple, but come September it'll be a lot more, where you won't need to install a driver onto the PC. So you can deploy a scanner and a scan capture software solution without having to install anything on a PC. Completely web, completely driverless scanning. That means you're less dependent on the PC. In fact, why have a PC if everything's web-based and the scanner doesn't need a Twain driver? Well, surely that you're now looking at people that are using tablets or other types of clients, like even a Mac and things like that, to be able to use such a system. So really broadening the scope there of what that can do. Okay, so what are we talking about here? How do we increase revenue in your customer wallet share? So those that have sold Kodak Alaris scanners and possibly Capture Pro in the past, might be worth revisiting those and see if we can extend that. Make that solution, make that offering broader with InfoInput. Look to your customers that you've sold any scanners to, whether it's Kodak Alaris or any other third-party scanners, and consider attaching the InfoInput solution for that organization. And consider integrating the InfoInput solution into your offering if you have one. And become Alaris software certified, which something that Mandeep was covering earlier, to gain access to those sales tools and the partner programs that Mandeep went into in detail earlier on. So there we go. We've got a great solution and a great portfolio of products, and it can enable you to effectively generate more revenue and become closer with your customer and increase your wallet share with that end user. At which point, let's move on to any questions we have from the audience.
Okay, if there's any questions, please raise your hand. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment. So thanks for, is there any kind of closing comments from Mandeep or Robbie?
Martin.
So, sorry, say again, please.
You got any questions, Martin? You're quite technically savvy. Have you got any?
I thought we weren't going to put me on the spot, but no, I think it was quite. I think that was quite clear. What I was going to suggest is we're going to have a follow-up email to everyone, just to share Robbie's details and Mandeep's details and some links to what was discussed. But I would say that, you know, this would be a good platform if it's of interest to you to take this up or on a one-to-one basis with Robbie. I'll share his details at the end of this, and by all means follow up with myself as well. But this is, you know, this solution is just where companies are going now. Where will they all be going back into the office? Will they need more remote workers? So I think, you know, this fits the bill for a lot of organisations in the new normal, wherever that will be, as we come out of this lockdown. But I mean, unless there's any other questions, we can close this off, and thank you for your time. So, Robbie, any closing comments?
We have
sorry, it's Carl. I was just wondering, you mentioned there's a couple of scanners in the portfolio at the moment that are kind of ready to go with the integration, the driverless integration. Do you have details of those devices?
Yeah, the two specific devices that we have for driverless scanning it's the S2060W, the S2080W, and as I mentioned earlier, in September we'll be launching a selection of A3 devices that will have that facility as well, because the two devices we have at the moment, the S2060 and the S2080W, are A4 desktop devices. And in September, there'll be a fleet of A3 devices that can fall into that as well.
Okay, cool.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll send you details of them, Carl. Don't worry, on email. So with all the information about that. So Robbie, I'll catch up with you after, get the right information over to him. So Carl, anything else? Or are you good?
No, that's cool. Cheers.
Okay. Anyone else got any questions?
Okay.
No. Okay. Well,
on today. I hope you found that useful.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks to Northamber for allowing us to talk to you today. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, look, thank you, everyone. Have a good day, and thanks for your time this morning. And going to call this meeting to close. Thank you very much.